So this is a technical look into the red pill, talking about characters like Andrew Tate and Rollo, Myron Gaines, Pearl Davis, along with the whatever podcast. Andrew Wilson appears there. So Andrew Tate's got his macho and disciplined lifestyle, but what about the sustainability of it for future generations? Like, does he says he has multiple wives, but does the first wife even approve and want the other wives as Muslim religions require? Or is it all about them just being this totally submissive, like, person that just gets impregnated? And then, or does he really care about how they feel? Now then, he may be a family man now, but he still has this promiscuity and premarital intimacy edge, like talking about women like, oh, he could easily get this and that, and it doesn't put an emphasis on, oh, every men deserve a wife, let's all work hard so we can be good loving husbands. Like, that's not part of his dialogue. And we know that he's using alcohol and cigars, and it doesn't seem Muslim, and it's like, what's his real legitimate business so that his children could have opportunities into the future? So with the flashy cars and everything, that can distract you from that. And so, you're looking at Rollo Tomassi. He's a guy who uses this word called proxology, that he came up with a lot of red pill ideas, but the problem is it's only a description of problems like female psychology and everything, but it doesn't actually give advice or what he calls prescriptions on what to do about making sense of everything and making marriage, and he doesn't seem to be into the religion thing, the marriage thing either, even though he is married. He still talks about stuff like spinning plates, which is basically polygamous premarital intimacy, and isn't willing to admit that men want a pure woman. And think about it, even for alphas to have a pure woman, we need to avoid premarital intimacy as all men. All men can't have a pure woman unless all men are also avoiding premarital intimacy. And, he makes jokes about women's chest size, but it doesn't focus on woman's flower, which to me is, the meaning of life. And women will joke around about men's privates to get back at men, because throughout recent times, men have always made unfriendly comments about women's chest size, but it's all a cycle of disrespect, and it doesn't make an emphasis on women's flower, which is special. Okay, so Myron Gaines, right, fresh and fit, he really knows how to present the issues in a Western society in a playful and entertaining way, and also challenge women in that way, but on his show. But his solution for all this is to go to a traditional country to find a wife who's pure and protected by her father. But what he doesn't realize is that his current promiscuity actually proves that he's not a current advocate or follower of the traditions and religions from where he wants his wife to be from. So he's not promoting a culture that creates the type of wife he would want. And if he actually cared about his future wife or wives, as he says, Muslim, he wants that, then he wouldn't cheat on them beforehand and promote the degenerate culture that he speaks out against. See, by pursuing people he refers to as recreational use, that he does that. And if he was really sincere about what he wanted, he would either join a mosque or at least practice his values and the values he wants for his future family, and treat women as sacred. And you could actually find a Muslim woman in the U.S. if you wanted. You wouldn't have to go outside of the U.S. Now, looking at Pearl Davis, so this woman, she's courageous. She's revealing flaws in women's illogical behavior because it's harder to see. Like for men, it's pretty obvious. It's like men just are, act like pigs, and they want, they don't want a woman who follows their beliefs. They just want to lie and say whatever, be fake to agree with the woman in order to be able to get intimacy from her. But then women's behavior is more complex, and you really got to figure it out. The whole idea Pearl presents is that women want freedom, but the end result is them not being happy because they don't have the protection and love of a man that they actually respect. And the reality is, Pearl is, acting like she wants to be a follower, a wife, and have a leader husband. She's not acting like she wants it. She doesn't like say that she wants a man to help her find a husband or anything like that. So she's highlighting the problems, but not really giving clear steps to move away from that. And finally, you look at whatever podcast with Brian, he's actually knows how to promote civil and honest conversations, but I actually gave him some super chats on the show, spent probably $100 or so, and I talked about celebrating women's flowers, but he was not receptive, even though he claims to like BLM, big women's flowers, which I like, interestingly. So we can all agree that there's nothing amazing as a woman's flower, and then you got Andrew Wilson. He's very convincing, but he uses all these fancy language like divine command and ecclesiastical authority, but he should really try to take accountability as an individual and say, here's a big thing that they say they believe in something, but do they prefer it? Like, would he prefer a Jesus character, or would he prefer, such and such from, the Bible? Yeah, or and then he does drink and smoke, which obviously is like a big question mark. And then lastly, I want to say that these people, they speak about the problems of feminism, right? And they and I appreciate that they do that, but they're only offering minimal solutions, and like they say, well, don't get married, but they don't say, well, find a way to get married like non-legally, like my idea of finding getting ready for marriage, avoiding premarital intimacy, using self-intimacy in order to do that. What else? When you find someone you're interested in, approach them, tell them you'd like, the contact information for their father or mother, parents or family, and because you're interested in them, but it's like a different energy. It's like the energy of respect, and if you're a father, how would you want your daughters to be treated? And thank you for considering, and I'm going to say aloha. Let's be marriage oriented and celebrate women in a sacred way, including women themselves can do that. All right, aloha, guys.